Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Azeroth Daily for the 23rd or the 24th, depending on where you are, of March 2011. My name is TotalBiscuit, bringing you your daily dose of WoW news and comment. And yes, I know the whole daily dose thing is starting to wear a little bit thin, considering the missing episodes. I'll talk a little bit about that at the end of the show. For the time being, however, the headlines today. The latest issue, I suppose you could call it that, of Ask the Devs has come out. This is going to be a regular feature, folks. The first one came out last week, and now Ask the Devs number 2, which is focused on PvP, is now available to read. I would highly recommend, if you have even a passing interest in PvP, that you do read it, because there is a significant amount of information there. And might I also remind you that Ask the Devs 3 is going to be about the user interface, and if you want to ask any questions about that, or indeed vote up questions that are currently in the thread that you would like asked and answered, then I would suggest that you head over to the links, which are in the link in the description below this video. It's a magical, wonderful thing. Blizzard have announced that there will be a new premium mount in the Blizzard store, and it is the Winged Lion. You can see an image of it on the screen right here. There's been no more information on the pricing, or indeed whether or not there will be any charitable donations from this, although based on the price of the Star Pony, as people like to call it, that retarded horse, which I like to call it, and the Celestial Steed, which Blizzard likes to call it, it's probably going to be around $25. Now, I've already said this on my Twitter and on my Facebook. I mentioned it an awful lot, that honestly, this really should be donated to the Japanese relief funds, and I would honestly suggest to Blizzard, strongly, that they consider doing something like that. Personally, I'm not in favor of any, and I do mean any, premium items being available, because we already pay a subscription as it is. However, it seems that Blizzard are continuing down this little path, and if they insist on doing it, they might as well do some damn good with it in the process. So, if you would like that to happen, I would suggest that you make your thoughts known. I believe there's already a thread on the forums that makes that very, very clear, so perhaps, maybe mention it in there, perhaps? Yes, there's a thread on the EU Battle.net forums about this, actually, donations to Japan via new pet. Go and show your support over there. That sounds like a good idea to me. The latest round of European community news has been released, and there are articles from Hungarian site WoW Hungary, and they've posted their latest video of the week, which happens to be a Oxhorn production like the game. And also the Polish site worldofwarcraft.pl has talked about some UI changes in patch 4.1. All that, the roundup of this week's comics, as well as the noteworthy forum threads, are available in the description below this video. Blizzard has announced that there will be a guild transfer and guild rename service coming into the game, which will allow you to move a guild and keep it intact so that you don't lose all the guild reputation and levels and the banks and the ranks and things like that. It will allow you to copy the guild over, and guild members that decide to relocate with the guild may initiate their own paid character transfer, and upon successful transfer, they'll automatically be part of the guild on the new realm. Now, needless to say, I very much doubt that these will be free by any stretch, because, you know, if there's anything that Blizzard actually needs, it's more money for doing absolutely nothing. And with that, it's time for your Daily Blues. Bakuga complains on the forums that he was scammed by a transmuter master, and apparently that was allowed and indeed okay, according to the GM. However, bear in mind that it seems he did not specify that he was also looking to get the procs from the transmutation. And there's a big response from Natrandon, who is a customer services rep, and it's very lengthy. You might want to go read the whole thing, but it boils down to the fact that because he didn't specify that he wanted that, and the chat logs did not show that he was actually after the transmute procs as well, the stance they are taking is that they are siding with the transmuter simply because the so-called victim was not specific. And it's a very lengthy post. It's well worth reading, actually, because it gives a good insight into the thought processes and, no doubt, many of the important guidelines that have to be followed by the GM. So do go give it a read and understand what is a scam and what is simply a mistake on your part. Kyvera comes up with a post that is actually related to Rift and asks whether or not the Rift coin locking system can be implemented into World of Warcraft. And what coin locking effectively is that whenever you log in to the game from a new or different location or computer, the account will be coin locked, and they'll be sent an email to an address that they have on their account with a code to enter into the game. And what this basically stops you from doing is sending mail, selling to vendors, salvage, room break, destroy items, etc., etc. So it basically means that you can't get all of your gear sharded and sold off by gold sellers. Now, the response from Blizzard is that they actually have a system in the game which is very similar already, and the only difference is that they completely lock the account and they'll have no access to it at all, and that requires you to do the same steps to recover that account. Which actually isn't true, because I log in from different computers all the time, and they don't have something similar to that at all. What they do have is a system whereby if they suspect keylogging, they will lock the account, but that's often after the damage is done. Admittedly, of course, it can be sorted out, and it can be given back and restored, but it does take some time. So, I don't know if I really approve of the whole coin locking thing, because I don't know if I approve of things like Steam Guard either, for instance. I mean, I use it, but it could be rather inconvenient, potentially. That said, bear in mind that I don't know how secure it really is, because it sends a code to an email account on the account. Well, if you've been keylogged, the chances are you've probably lost access to your email as well, so it is a little bit of a dangerous possibility, and I don't know just how effective the system would be, but it's something to consider. And I don't like the fact that Blizzard are being a little bit disingenuous here by claiming they have something similar, because they really don't. Now, this is a bit of a silly one. I like this one indeed. It comes from Cliff. I just got hit by a 55k snowmage in Isle of Conquest. Snowmages are imbalanced. Oh my god. Deadly serious, I might add. And this entire thread degenerates into a massive running joke. And the response from Slorkers to the snowmages are nothing compared to water shaman and grass druids is, I regret to inform you that scary monster warlocks feel left out in your commentary, good sir. Thanks for making me laugh with the comment, though. Yeah, that's pretty good. Now, as it turns out, actually, Cliff was entirely correct, and I can reveal the exclusive look at the latest hero class, the Snowmage, right here. And with that, it's time for your daily grind. This one is over near the Azure Lode mine in the Hillsbrad, yes. And this involves yet more Murloc punishment. I think we're going on a theme right here. And what you have to do is kill some Murlocs, and you get the hungry mine spider to go and devour their corpses, which, quite frankly, is extremely morbid. And also, the mine spider will even help you out with the fighting by spitting poison in their faces. We really don't like Murlocs, do we? Of course not. And with that, it's time for your weekly feature. I'm going to do the feature that I was supposed to do yesterday because I spent hours getting this together. So I'm going to do that. We'll skip the Court of Law this week just due to time constraints. As I said before, I've got something to say at the end of the show about how we're going to get things back on track for this. But whatever the case, yes, Achievement Hog, folks. Right, okay, I've got 2 achievements for you to look at here. And one of these is hidden. I featured this as a quest a very long time ago on Azeroth Daily, and a lot of people missed it. So this is one of the achievements that huge amounts of people don't actually see because it's a hidden quest, and you can only really do it as the Alliance. It's called Ghosts of the Past, and the way that you do it is to fly, or indeed just jump if you're a lower level, directly into the Maw of the Void, and what that will do is it will suck you down after a brief cutscene, and you go down there and kill what appears to be a corrupted demon hunter, and you gain an item from that, and when you take it back to the quest giver, you will be awarded an achievement there. So it's really that simple. It's not particularly hard, but most people miss it simply due to not knowing where it actually is or that it even exists. Now, the next achievement is not so easy by any stretch, and it goes by the name of Minesweeper. This is an achievement some of you may have done in Wrath of the Lich King, but a lot of people skipped for very good reason, because it is a goddamn nightmare. As to how long this took me, a long bloody time. Probably about 2 hours, if I'm totally honest. Now, what Minesweeper requires you to do is you've got to hit 10 mines in rapid succession without touching the floor. This is not actually true. There is a small grace period when you land that you can move to another mine. Now, this achievement has a lot of RNG involved in it, but there are a few tricks you can use in order to make it a little bit easier. Firstly, start yourself off in the middle of the area to give you more chance of not being bounced out of it. And also, there's a larger concentration of mines in the center, and hitting multiple mines in one jump will also count, although it will also throw you very high in the air, and often that will do a lot of damage to you falling-wise. The second thing to do is, if you are a higher level, mount up on a flying mount, and you will not be knocked off that mount. What that will allow you to do is to move more rapidly from mine to mine. Even if you go on the ground, you can of course run at 100% speed, and as I said before, there is a grace period in there. Now, the third thing, which is a little bit dodgy, is the fact that the laggier you are, the easier this actually is to do, because it extends the grace period basically the game doesn't register that you're in the place that you should be. So you get more time if you are laggier. Now, you can generate lag if you so desire by uploading something. That's usually the best way to do it, and you may find the achievements a little bit easier that way. Although, bear in mind that that's effectively cheating. I don't know if it's strictly against the rules, but still, it's hacks. What can I say? And aside from that, bear in mind that when you hit a mine, you are catapulted in the direction that your back is facing. So that's something that you can bear in mind, which should hopefully make it significantly easier. As you fly through the air, you can also keep a good eye out for the nearest mine to run towards to, and you can orientate yourself so that once you land, you should have an easy job of getting to the next one. Still, it's a little bit RNG, and it can become incredibly annoying. Just bear that in mind. But those are a few tips to hopefully help you out, and that should make things a little bit easier for you. And with that, it's time for the mailbox. This one comes in from Kuhaku, who says, I'm a warlock who's just recently hit level 85, and after running some old raids, I'm now pugging, shameful I know, but random normal mode dungeons in order to gather gear to catch up with the rest of my guild. I watched your videos of the beta. I was very excited to see instances that looked fresh and challenging. However, upon running them, I've noticed that something seems wrong. The groups I'm in have a tendency to wipe, which is unsurprising considering they're pugs, but the weird thing is, a lot of the time our tank or healer will die, and the remaining members will still be able to down the boss. One time in Lost City of Tolvir, both of them went down due to our tank, I quote, not noticing the fire pillars. That was, of course, on the second to last boss, and our hunter was the last one standing. She managed to finish off the boss alone using her pet to tank. I'm very worried that the content of the dungeon seems to have been nerfed heavily since the beta. Will it get better when I get up to heroic level, and will the idiots ever be weeded out? Thanks for your time. Well, to start with, Lost City of Tolvir was not hard anyway, even in the beta. It was actually one of the easier dungeons. It was yeah, I think it was, actually. I think it was the dungeon that was second easiest compared only to the Vortex Pinnacle. So, it was not a hard dungeon at all to begin with. Now, secondly, yes, they were actually nerfed. Pretty much all of them did receive nerfs in between the beta and the game actually going live, which is why a lot of people that ran the dungeons and then did guides after the launch, as opposed to those who did them in the beta, noted that the dungeons were significantly easier than the guys in the beta were actually claiming, and that is exactly why. So, I can't say I'm all that happy about that. The problem is right now that Blizzard seems to be dedicated to the idea that everybody should see the content and they shouldn't have to work for it. Now, the problem with that is, of course, that you eventually go down into this horrible spiral where people get worse and worse and worse, and they never, ever learn. And as a result of them never learning, they never get better, and you can never really present harder content that won't get invariably nerfed, because you've got to appeal to this growing number of the player base that are actually really, really awful in every way at the game, and it's actually partially Blizzard's fault for socially engineering them that way. It sucks. I don't like it. And by the looks of Zolomon and Zolgarub, things are not going away anytime soon. This one comes in from Dark Power, who says, I don't know if you've read this or not, but it would be kind of funny to cover anyway. And this is in regards to somebody that tried to bribe a GM or indeed any kind of WoW admin to give his account back. And this supposedly went up on Craigslist. I don't know how true this is, but it wouldn't surprise me in any way. It says, I got my account banned yesterday during the archaeology bot ban wave. I wasn't a gold farmer or seller. I've never bought gold. I just botted archaeology because it's boring. I'm looking for a WoW account admin to unban my account for $1,000 US. No questions asked. Your anonymity will be preserved. This is a serious offer. And he goes on to say where he's going to leave the money and how he can pay him and stuff like that. And I think the point that I could really make here is that if archaeology is boring, don't goddamn do it. Oh, but I've got to. No, you don't. It's completely optional. But I got... No, you don't. There is no reason at all to actually do archaeology if you don't want to do it. Don't do boring stuff, and don't then go on and make excuses, oh, it's boring, so it's okay if I cheat. I remember some guys who thought it was boring and that it would be okay to cheat in order to get past it. There were a guild by the name of Overrated. Perhaps you've heard of them. Most of you probably haven't, because this was back in vanilla. They used bugs to travel through the walls and skip the Cthulhu trash, and they did this purposely. They were caught, and they were all permabanned. So, yeah. No, it's not okay. It's boring, we get it, but at the end of the day, it's a game and everything you are doing in it is optional. If you cannot stand the boredom in order to get the rewards, then do not do it. And if you're playing a game you find boring, then you are the biggest sucker in the world. There are so many games you could be playing instead. So for God's sake, go play one of those and don't whine when you get banned for doing something that is blatantly against the terms of service and always has been from the very start. Okay, folks, so that's me done for Azeroth Daily today, but before I go, I want to let you know about the situation right now. So, there was an audio blog being put up on cynicalbrit.com. It's actually available there if you want to go and listen to it. But what's going to be happening with Azeroth Daily is that, for one, I'm going to Italy next week to do casting for the Ultimate Gaming Championship, and I'm also going to stay there a couple of extra days. People keep telling me I need a holiday, so the place is about 40 minutes from Venice, so I think I'm going to hang around in Venice for a few days. But whatever the case, I will still be producing videos while I'm over there, because I've got a nice, powerful video editing laptop now, so there will be As Daily Lights when I'm over there, which will basically be vlogs with news and mail, and that'll be pretty much it. I don't have the 4 to 6 hours I need there because I'll be working pretty much all the time while I'm over there. However, when I come back from that, what's going to be happening is I've hired 2 people on to help me out with a lot of the work. Like a lot of the filming, for instance, that's going to be done by an employee. So I will just be doing the recording and the editing. And I've also expanded the remit of my researcher to cover doing all the static shots that you see for, say, the news and the blues and things like that. And that's quite a lot of work as well, of resizing and taking those shots. So I'm minimizing the amount of work that I have to do, and I'm focusing purely on the commentary. And more to the point, what that will allow me to do is to ensure that not only will these get out on a regular basis, but I'll also be able to put out more videos per day, because Azeroth Daily isn't sinking so much of my time. And it really is. I mean, it's taking the majority of my working day just to get that video done, and obviously that's compromising my ability to do everything else as well. So, yeah, that's how that's going to roll, and I've got to once again apologize for the lack of regularity over the past couple of weeks with Azeroth Daily. Some of it's been due to illness, but other times it's just been due to the fact that I've run out of time or whatever on a day. So, again, I'm sorry about that. That shouldn't be happening, and I'm now taking steps to make sure that doesn't happen ever again. So, hopefully after the Italy trip, you will see a much improved and properly done Azeroth Daily every single day of the week. That's, of course, Monday to Friday. We don't count weekends, folks. I wish that was a break, but it's not. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching Azeroth Daily today. You have been a fantastic audience as always. Please vote it up, and of course, favorite it if you do like it. That really does help an awful lot. You'd be surprised how much that really aids the channel when you do that, and it's a very simple thing to do. I do very much appreciate it when you do that, and I'll see you next time.